Hey Milo, my name is Bob. I go by Bob the Homo. Um, yeah, I'm an older gay male who has been, I don't know, not such a social justice warrior in the sense that they're calling you, but I do stand for social justice. And I really like to open a dialogue with you, a real discussion. I'm not putting down your ideas or your beliefs. I do think what you're doing is a little bit more dangerous and a little less productive for the LBGT community. And I did not put QI on the end of that because this fourth wave feminism, SJW, non binary trans crowd has usurped what is a description and made it into a movement and has moved so far from what it originally was that there are some groups that don't even include gay in their anagrams anymore, like Quilt Bag, where the G stands for gender queer. All right, I'm not happy with this. I worked very long and hard my life. I grew up where most gays were beaten or killed or ostracized in the 70s when I was the decade I was born in 72 to the 80s where we finally started getting some acceptance because in the 70s and 60s there was the hippie movement and that cultural thing. So but in the 80s it was still pretty bad. There was a defense called gay rage. It was basically if you had sex with somebody of the same gender, usually it's happened between men, and then they decided or got hit on or whatever, even actively participated. If they got freaked out, they can turn around and gay bash that person, and then in court they would use, it was gay rage defense. I was so shocked, and it's so unnatural that it caused me to be triggered into violence, which is really what triggered is about. But that's a different video. Anyway, yeah, I see your points, and I understand that, yes, everybody's a little racist. Most men are a little misogynistic. Yeah, I understand. I don't see your point. I understand what you're trying to say, and that's the thing. That's like white privilege sort of stuff. But that is so minor, and most people these days, people your age, don't even think about that anymore. It's still people my age and older who might even think about that. But most of those people have come around and are at least, if they're not knowledgeable in what trans and stuff is, and yeah, they're going to laugh and giggle and all that stuff too, because that's human nature. But as long as they're not actively doing anything to bother you with it, then they're not really prejudiced. Or even if they are prejudiced, they're not actively prejudiced against you. So please, when you give this idea that everybody falls into some sort of racist and that they have to unlearn it, most people unlearn it in an instant. The way most people's minds work is that racist or misogynist thought that you're talking about happens in a split second, and then people correct themselves in that same split second. That's how the mind works. Mine works lightning fast. The other thing about, yes, there are many different genders. 76 or more, I'm not going to go with. There is more than just XX, XY. There's XO. There's XYY. There's XXYY. Yes, and all of these could be valid and variances on your gender. And yes, everybody's brain works a different way, so that's a variable in your gender too. But I would say as a young person right now, you and your crowd are really just experiencing gender roles, and gender is a social construct because you're not even representing androgyny right. You don't have to look androgynous to be androgynous. I am a pretty straight appearing male. I'm pretty butch, pretty straight appearing, but when I took the androgyny test in my Psych 101 class, I was androgynous. The reason is because emotions have sexual classes. Kindness is associated with femininity. Aggression is associated with masculinity. Every emotion everything you feel is male or female. So my emotional my emotional sexuality is more female, but that doesn't mean I'm non-binary. It just means I'm a little androgynous. My outward appearance is non-androgynous, but my emotional state is the way I think, the way I respond, are pretty much feminine. That's what's called getting in touch with your feminine side. And for we females, it's getting in touch with your masculine side. Everybody has female side. Everybody has a masculine side. As much as it comes out. And on sexuality, there is a scale. It's the Kinsey scale. It goes from 0 to 6, I believe. 0 being totally heterosexual and 6 being totally homosexual. There is a theory that nobody fits a 0 or a 6. That's abnormal behavior. Everybody's between 0.1 and 5.9. Now that could just mean you had a passing interest and maybe thought about having sex with somebody. You had a crush on a girl if you're a girl. Hey, maybe you're a guy and you let some guy suck your cock once. You know, whatever. That doesn't mean you're bi, you're demi, you're pan, you're this. It just means that at most you were bi-curious. Everybody falls on that scale. Yes, there'll be some people who tell me they disagree, and I've never had a gay thought in my life. And yeah, that's fine. They can agree to that too, but that's the that's the most modern ideal of sexuality. Gender doesn't fit that. Gender's not a scale. Gender is something. Yes, people feel like they're in the wrong gender, they're transitioning. That's great. I'm very happy for those people. But the people who like you, who are doing gender as a social construct, is actually making it harder on me and on lesbians and on bis and on transsexual people, the ones who were the original LBGT, which is not even, because it went from gays to gays and lesbians to gays, lesbians, and bi to gays, lesbians, bi, trans, and then you added on a few more letters and you use queer. Don't use queer. Don't use queer gender. Don't use queer. All right? It's bad enough we're called faggots and homos and all that stuff. I take back homo in my name, not because I'm taking it back. It's because I'm trying to shove it in somebody's face, to tell you the truth, which is a little wrong of me too. But like you, I don't like people making assumptions about me. And most people assume that I'm a straight, cisgender, white, whatever you call me. And since you use heteronormative, would you please explain to me why queer is the opposite of heteronormative? Because I don't get that. Anyway, this video is going on too long. You're probably not even going to have seen it. Nobody's probably going to see it. Nobody watches my lame-ass channel. I guess I'm too weird for the internet. Anyway, I just want you to think about it, Milo. Your brain's not even fully developed until you're in your 20s. So while you're playing with your gender roles and discovering your sexuality and still developing into an adult, please don't alienate your allies. Because most of these guys who are making the response videos to you, not the trolls who are harassing you, I find that very offensive as well. Nobody's an attack helicopter. But these other guys like Autonomous Prime and Bearing and those guys and Undoomed, believe it or not, they're actually your ally. They understand trans. They just want to show you that you might not understand it yourself. And yes, mocking you might not be the best way to put it forward. But that's how they communicate. At least they're putting effort into making these videos, the animations and all that stuff, and showing facts, because they are on your side. Maybe not, they're on the side of trans. They're actually on your side, believe it or not. They wouldn't go through all this trouble of doing it if they weren't trying to educate people. The trolls are a different story. You can't stop trolls, man. The trolls are in real life too. At least you get to see who they are on the internet, because the real trolls in the real world don't come up to you and tell you that shit. They work against you behind your back. Alrighty? Thanks for your time, and I really hope this gets to you. If anybody else is watching it, please try to get it to where it spreads to Milo Stewart and the other people of his ilk, because this message is for all of them. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.